Welcome to day 9 of second 40-day fast. And today is Tuesday. Make sure I get the right date there. Yeah, it's Tuesday, March 6, 2012. Tuesday, March 6, 2012, day 9 of second 40-day fast. Now, this fast, it's basically to encourage those who have joined me now, want to get into the life of fasting. As I say, it's a beautiful thing to get into the life of fasting. It rejuvenates you. Fasting gets you closer to your Maker, causes you to concentrate more on the deeper things in life, things that do make sense. You discover how economical is this body that God has made, that you can live on so little and still have more strength than in eating all the junk and all the stuff that you ate before. You just eat just the nutritious food, that you were ordained to have, and that you can. That God's food is so complete, like cows and other animals on the farms. They usually most animals are mono diets. They eat only one, whatever's in season. Like the cow can go on grass for years, and the grass has plenty of nutrients and even protein. You've seen cows and bulls with big muscles. They don't get it from eating another cow. They get it from the grass. The protein is found in there. So don't be deceived by the industry that tells you that meat and dead meat at it gonna give you protein. Even the animals that eat other animals, they eat it. They eat the flesh raw, not cooked. There's better protein in raw flesh that the tiger eats than in all the food that we cook. We kill the protein and we think it's going to resurrect them to life. This is crazy. There's plenty of protein in the grass itself. So if there's protein in the grass that the cow can get and the bull can get, and it can have muscles, because that's what they have you think, that you have to have meat. And meat, by the way, is flesh. That's how I understand it. When we eat, we think of flesh. But the Bible says, the herbs and fruits shall be thy meat. The word meat in the Bible should be your food. Okay, but we have been so brainwashed into thinking that meat has to do with flesh, and we haven't eaten any flesh, we haven't eaten any food. But that's not the case. The cows and the bulls, can have big muscles just eating the grass. And it depends on the work that you do. You have to do the kind of work that involves a lot of hand labor, and you eat the fruits and salads, you will also develop the muscle necessary for the job. It's the task that you have to do that allows you the muscles to go. For example, the work that I do is, I hardly do anything of lifting or anything. It's office work. I translate, I sit down on a desk. So it doesn't involve me lifting things and getting all muscle up. So there's no need for my body to pile up any muscle. But if I was involved in the construction or anything like that, and I keep my diet, then the muscle will be formed. The body is very intelligent. And whatever it needs, it will form from the food, the right sources. So that's how complete the food is. So don't be deceived by that. Protein, the cow and the bull gets protein from the grass that it eats. So definitely we can find it in fruits, and we can find it also, they say that only it's going to be in nuts, but it's also in the fruits. It's in the fruits. And so it's amazing, but I'll be talking more about that. But let's get to what we've been talking about here. Now this is a concept that I wanted to bring to your attention. I brought it to you yesterday. How that I was looking at if you're complete, like all the fruits and all the nutritional scientists, I agree that each one of them have about 10,000 phytonutrients. Phyto means plants, nutrients, chemical. Phytochemicals, plant chemicals. And so each of them are complete in that sense. They all have the same amount, but some have more of one than the other. And so that's why each one has different properties and different things that they can do for you. So you don't discover that until you go on the mono diet. Like, for example, when I did with grape, then you understand that grape has a great ability not only to rejuvenate you, but also to extract all the hanging skin. So you don't have to go through any kind of surgery, because it takes out all the mucus and all the acid out of your system. But you don't discover that property on the grape if you mix it with other fruits and vegetables. But if you just take it by itself, then you discover how much good it can do for you. And so, so that's why it's important to become a mono diet. A person that just lives on the food that is in season. Most of the animal kingdom does. They are kept healthy by that method. It's only we that think that we have to mix everything because we keep thinking that food is not complete. The food that God made is complete. You can live on one thing only and live for a long time on that while it's the season, and then change when the season comes. You'll discover that as you go. And I'm discovering that, and it's amazing. And you have the level of energy is way up there. You hardly get tired. You have so much energy. You can do so many other things. The day is not enough to you to fulfill all the things you have to do because there's so much energy left in you. But without mixing all this stuff, all this mixing of stuff is all this chemical reactions in your stomach. That's why you get bloated and you get gas and all that, because remember, your stomach is like a little chemical flask. All these things are poured in there, and if there's too many diversity, too many chemicals, it's just like mixing a lot of stuff in a chemical life. You can cause explosion, and that's what happens. You get bloated. You have gas and all these kinds of things, the reactions of the wrong foods mixing in your system. It shouldn't be like that. You don't see the cows and the horses and all these animals that you see the grass farting all over the place and getting all kinds of gases going. There's not all that chemical reaction going in their system. It's just us that we do this because we've been misguided into thinking that food is not complete unless you mix 3 or 4 different things in the plate. But it's not necessarily so. The food that God made is complete, so therefore, that's why each fruit is happy to be a meal for you. I was thinking of that today. I was thinking of the concept we have McDonald's come up with the idea of the happy meal. And the kids have been trained to just order a happy meal. The thing is, we were supposed to be the happy meal because we feed the generation. We feed our jobs with the knowledge and skills we have. Because food, what it does is it fortifies you. It makes you edify your body with health. It builds you up. So whatever knowledge we have that we can build up a company, or we can fortify the product and fortify the service, we are behaving like a meal. We're using all that's in us to fortify something else, to edify it, to make it strong, to keep it going. That's the property of food. That's the property of a meal. So the whole key in life is to learn to enjoy being the meal that God has prepared to keep the next generation going. So you got to learn to be in the situation that you're the happy meal. Now, if you're the meal, you're not identifying with your flesh and your labor. You identify with the message of who God is. You're here to represent Him. And He who is complete is flowing through everything. His word is flowing through everything and keeping everything going. Everything is kept by the word of His power. So you identify with our word, because that word which began everything is going to be there forever. So the word becomes your life. And to express that word and to communicate it is your destiny. So that's why you are transferred from the kingdom of darkness. You will read that later on here. Skoros. The darkness is what extracts energy, takes life out of things. Just translated from that into the kingdom of His dear Son, the kingdom of the Word, which is the Word is the one that first comes into being before anything is manifested. Like before I make a TV, I have to come up with the word TV and talk about all the ways how to be assembled, and then the thing, voila, comes out of the ground and comes out of all the materials. But the word is the firstborn before that item is actually created. So the word has the preeminence. Everything has to come from the word first, and then after the word has put it together, then it comes out from the materials that were supposed to come out. All these things I'm giving you so you can have a better understanding as we read the book of Colossians and other epistles from Paul. So, well, basically, that what was happening in the wilderness. Jesus was declaring, in the temptation that he had, the devil was trying to, the first temptation was to feed his appetite. Make sure you get your happy meal that makes you happy. Don't starve yourself to death. So your main thing in life is to use the status of the Son of God to make sure that you get fed and you get that meal, and you don't have to suffer any hunger. And most of the world is being brainwashed. But Jesus says, men shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeded out of the mouth of God. Because he understood that it's the words that come to you and train you and make you serviceable and make you knowledgeable that makes you able to build industries and build nations and build schools and build families. It is the word that instructs you and tells you how things work, that enables you to make a living and then earn enough money to have everything else. But without the knowledge, so therefore, you got to be fed by the word. The word is your first meal. Because the word fortifies you and strengthens you to be useful. Now, after the first meal comes into you, which is the word, then you become a meal to the world, because then the knowledge that is in you enables you to fortify industries, to fortify nations, to edify countries. So you become a meal. Once you eat the first meal, which is the word, then you become a meal. You become like the word. You're able to imitate the word in that fashion. So just learn to be a happy meal. You know, it's, it's better to be a happy meal than to just have a happy meal. You understand what I'm saying? That's the whole concept of the scriptures. Everything is complete. There's nothing new under the sun. So you're here to transfer the character of God as you go through this life. So you enjoy that. Learn to capture that. And that's why it says in long suffering and joyfulness, all these things that you're going to be reading in Colossians. So I thought I mentioned this before I continue reading, because I'm going to continue tomorrow. But that's the main focus here, it's more important to be a happy meal, be a person that edifies and fortifies and builds up nations and builds up, than just try to get a meal that will do that for your body. You can do that for all kinds of people and nations and everything, rather than just for the body. So it's stronger the person that thinks that way than the other person that just here to see where the next meal is coming from. So that's one of the key things to understand. So learn to be the meal, because God will prepare you to be a meal. So learn to enjoy the process of expressing Him in that, in that economy of His kingdom, the way He runs things. So I'll leave you with that. That's for today.